Take a look.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, the mic was off, so we had no audio there. We're live outside with Jake, everyone.
oh my gosh. So it's cold. Everybody saw the very beginning of this. Unfortunately, I was reporting that the first thing that really jumps out at you in the beginning of this weather is the.
Looks like he zapped himself, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, he might have lost signal. Let's try calling him back, shall we? It's tough doing outdoor shots live, let me tell you. Oh, wait, there he
All right.
is. Hi.
So sorry about that. Once again. All right. Let's see if we can get this right here. Cold. Very, very cold out here, Mari. The temperature said 5 degrees when I went outside. The real feel is -3 outside. Let me tell you something. There is probably about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Gusts around probably 15 miles. Not really strong, but when that wind kicks, it feels like very, very, very cold, bone chilling. I'm already kind of shivering too, so I don't know how long I'm going to be outside, to be honest with you. But I was trying to show everybody the terrain right now, the roads. Not so bad. It hasn't really snowed a whole lot. It started around 4 p.m. this afternoon. If you guys look down here, it's probably about an inch or two, maybe about 2.5 inches. So very powdery though. This snow, I talked about this a couple nights ago. Because of the temperatures, we're not going to have that heavy wet snow. This is not going to be the kind of snow, unfortunately, that we're going to be able to go outside and build snowmen with. In actuality, this is going to be great sledding weather, but as far as packability for snowmen, it's not looking likely. Now, I'm pointing up here. Don't pay attention to Nibiru there, but wanted to show you the snow, how it's falling right now. And I don't know if you noticed, Mari, but it's like fine particles. It's not even like snow. This is just like little bits of ice falling from the sky right now. And like I said, for it to be 5 degrees and snowing, and I know a lot of you probably are watching the storm. It started out in the Midwest. A lot of my friends in Southwest Ohio were complaining, talking about how the weatherman got it wrong again. There's no snow here, and it started to rain out there, but now they're getting the snow. They got ice too. They got a lot of ice. And the thing that you have to remember about with these weathermen, the forecasters, these storms, if they shift just a little bit to the north or the south or the east or the west, it changes forecasts. It changes snowfall totals. And right now, I guess parts of Ohio wish they were still seeing the rain because I know they are getting the snow. Pennsylvania is also getting snow and ice. They've gotten more ice than snow, I think, so far. And also, we were looking at snow totals, Mari, in New Hampshire area, and we were looking at possibilities of very heavy mountain snow.
Oh, very, very heavy mountain snow. Let's see. Some places in the Adirondacks are already approaching 50 inches, apparently, towards this map that I'm looking at. Same with some higher regions in New Hampshire. They're showing pink, which is the inch depth, 50 to 75 inches of snow. So significant snowfall in the mountains already. Lake George, Saratoga region in New York, we are just starting out. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Let me just take a look at this map here. We are in sort of a dead area on the radar right now, so we're approaching like 2 to 4 inches in some areas. Further, I would say, let's see, west right now is where the storm is. It's going to be coming in. People are seeing accumulations. We got 16 inches near like Racket Lake in New York, Indian Lake. Let's see, I'm going to zoom out, see like what Western New York got. It looks like Buffalo and those surrounding areas are in the 2 to 4 region as well. So I'm not sure if this, it just says today's snow cover percent. So inches of depth. So it's hard to find live snow data. There's a furlough with NOAA. Can you hear me okay still?
I can hear you fine. I'm just listening to what you're saying about the totals. I got to be honest with you, Mari. The wind's picking up out here, and the snow's getting a little bit more visible out here. But the biggest story right now, I think, besides the snow, is the cold. It is so cold out right now. 5 degrees is the temperature Fahrenheit. Real feel is -3.
People want you to do that show, the whole show out there, Jake. They love you out there.
I kind of thought about it. I said, let's just go outside and do the whole thing from outside. No way, no way. I'm not exaggerating. I'm shivering, and it's a good thing I have this new camera because it takes some of the shaking out of the actual shaking. I'm telling you right now, if I had just a regular crappy phone, you guys would know how cold it is. It is shivering cold, and the best part about it is when the wind's not blowing. But here, I'll give you an idea of how. Oh, this doesn't zoom in. That's unfortunate.
Oh, when you're live, yeah, not in the software that we're using right now, unfortunately.
Well, there's a realty sign across the street, and it's not moving a whole lot right now. But when the good gusts do come through, it does whip it around a little bit. There it is, a little bit. See, it's not too bad. Not terrible wind, but I'm telling you guys, 5 degrees. Real feel is -3, and the wind chill's got to be somewhere -20. I mean, Mari, this is the first thing you notice when you're standing out here for more. How long we been on the air?
Probably like 5, maybe 8 minutes at most.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is serious, but here we go. We've probably got about 2.5 inches of snow on the ground right now. All right, the snow really started picking up around 6 this evening. That's when we started seeing it. So 2 hours, we've probably gotten about 2 inches, maybe 3. But it's a very fine powder. Now, I got to hand where we live, the roads, believe it or not, Mari, there are some wet areas where the salt is actually working. So they are using some serious stuff here for the salt to be keeping the roads even remotely wet and not frozen. So, but I was going to say, I've been outside 5 minutes, and I'm going to tell you, this is not safe weather. If anybody is going to be out in this, make sure that your car is equipped with emergency blankets, hand warmers to get caught in this storm tonight. And this is only the beginning of this storm, okay? This is only the beginning. But if you get caught out in this, and I'm wearing gloves, now they're not the best winter gloves, but they are gloves covering my fingers. And I can tell you this right now, Mari, the left hand is pretty numb. So guys, this snow is the first hazard, but the thing that really concerns me right now is the cold, right? 5 degrees Fahrenheit, -3 real feel out here, and when that wind blows, it is bone chilling. In fact, Mari, just to be on the safe side, I think you can go ahead and cut away from me. I need to go ahead and get back inside.
No problem, Jake. Sorry, everyone, about the audio issues we had. You guys first couldn't hear him, and then he was low, and I boosted that up. So it's something we don't normally do, is go on live with multiple forms. We're dealing with technology, wireless technology, being live all day. So thanks for bearing with us with that. We just wanted to do a quick shot, and Jake will probably go out later after the show winds down live on his camera, and we'll see how much more snow has accumulated. No snow angels, so I will let him know when he comes in that maybe as the snow deepens, we'll get him to do a snow angel for us. So he is coming back in. This is a shot of the SDO. We have a coronal hole going around. I just thought it was beautiful, the imagery you can get off of the Oh, doggy's mad. All right, Jake, I'm going to pass this off to you. And now I'm going to hop in the chat with you guys. Let me Hold on.
Okay, wow. Let me tell you something, folks. That is cold outside. When we thought about tonight's show, we were contemplating on doing an extended version outside in the cold. That's definitely being changed. I'm going to tell you something. Mari, go ahead and feel the tips of my hand there.
Oh, you're frozen.
So that was just about 5 to 10 minutes of exposure, and that was wearing a very heavy coat. Now that was the warmest part. The hat and the hood helped, but the face and the hands. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're out in this 10 minutes, any much longer, I probably could have experienced some frostbite for sure on the finger. So the one thing I want to yield caution to for tonight's storm, Harper. Not only just are we dealing with the snowfall that's going to be coming with this storm, but the cold. This is some serious cold weather, folks. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing such a fine snowfall, not the heavy wet flakes, the beautiful compacting snow that make the snowmen with. But like I said, very cold outside. That's the biggest, to me, that's the headline of this storm thus far. All right, let's take a look at some space weather, and we'll talk more about Winter Storm Harper as soon as I thaw out. Taking a look at our solar winds, we're sitting around the 372 kilometers per second range right now. Our density is below 1. At last check, it was at a 0.80. We look at our KP indices. It's been in a 1. Looks like a 24-hour max of around 2. So it's been very quiet on the KP indices, the solar X-ray flux, the solar proton flux. Everything has been steady as she goes. And part of it is because this guy right here is blank once again. So 0 sunspots to report here on January, we're on the 19th finally. January 19th, 2019. Taking a look at the SDO in motion. Let's get her in motion. And we are getting ready to deal with this coronal hole that is becoming Earth-facing. And that will give us our chance of our next geomagnetic storm. NOAA is now confirming that this is going to be on the January 23rd and not the 24th. Again, my tongue is still frozen, folks. But this coronal hole right here, we should see elevated solar wind speeds and possibly a G1 geomagnetic solar storm. I've noticed out here we have a little bit of brightness coming from our corona. I want to zoom this in real quick. Let's take a look and see what we can see, folks. Noticed that we were looking at our opposite side of our sun, and we were following these active regions right here. And as we get to the Earth side, these regions get their acts together and stabilize. And as we see here in the corona, we can see a little bit of activity that we've been following, like I said, on the reverse side of our sun. We've been spotless for a few days now, almost going on 2 weeks, nonstop. As we review what is in store here, not on the very far horizon, a couple of regions above the equatorial region as well that are just beyond the eastern limb. So still have about 8 to 12 days before we have to even talk about those active regions peering towards the eastern limb. But something to keep an eye on and something to watch as well. Taking a look at our TSI for January 8th, 2019. And we came in at a 1360.6650. So TSI once again on the slight decline. We had a little bit of a peak in the 0.7 values for a little bit, but back down to the mid sixes. Excuse me. All right, so tonight's episode is going to be mainly focused on Winter Storm Harper. We have seen this storm already kick up, as Mari has shown a little bit of radar footage, but I wanted to go over this as well, all of our warnings. And you could see that the winter storm warnings are stretching from southern Illinois, actually far southeast Missouri, all the way through southern Illinois, Indiana, all of Indiana almost, most of Ohio except for the far southeast, most of central Pennsylvania and western Pennsylvania, all of New York, all of New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, under a winter storm warning right now. But like I said, guys, the big story in my book right now, the snow has just started to fall. The biggest story that we have, in my opinion, is this cold air. And that, to me, just watching some of the snow totals that have been talked about, no one's really talking about, in my opinion, enough about this cold air, guys. Anyway, across the Chicago area, residents woke up to measurable snow on Saturday morning, and through some locations had far more than others. Several hours of snowfall were still left. Now, this is from earlier today. Some of the totals that we've seen in Illinois, 4.7 in southeast Chicago. Now, this was earlier today, somewhere in the midday part. 6 to 5 inches, 6.5 inches in Evanston, 3.5 in Lansing. Midway Airport picked up 5.3. Morton Grove, 5 inches. 6.5 inches in Oak Crest. O'Hare Airport with 5 inches. Palatine with 8.5 inches. DeKalb, they picked up 7.9 inches of snow. So a decent amount of snow has already fallen from this storm that began really to kind of get its act together yesterday at some point. And as we watch this storm trek across the East Coast, here we are in Ohio, 9 to 12 inches of snow across Mansfield, Ashland, Worcester, Akron, Youngstown, Middlefield, Cleveland area, Metro City. You're going to get 6 to 9 inches. Lorain, Norwalk, Tiffin, 4 to 6 and 2 to 4 is closer to the Toledo area. This is not what was expected from earlier, was that most of Ohio was going to be dumped with a foot of snow. Like I said, things have changed as the radar situation had changed as well. With the shift in the storm, it looks like some of that warmer, milder temperatures had pushed a little bit further north than originally thought. But this is from Weather Nation. A major winter storm continues to press towards the eastern U.S., bringing the threat for snow and ice and severe storms. Several areas from New York to Maine could end up with more than a foot of snow. For other areas, icy wintry mix. Winter weather alerts have been issued for over 20 states, extending from the upper Midwest to New England. A state of emergency remains in effect for Pennsylvania and New Jersey ahead of this storm. A couple of places had done this. Here's a little bit of motion of what we're expecting with the storm, as the bulk of this will come overnight. And let's take a look as this thing really got going Friday. Chicago, that again, and that was the lighter side of this storm. So if we saw 7.5 inches in parts of Chicago or near it, okay, and that's the very light shaded blue, and we have this super dark blue that forms over Pennsylvania and through upstate New York, very concerned about what kind of snowfall, 20, 24, possibly 30 inches in some isolated areas in upstate New York and going into New Hampshire and New England, Maine as well, at the very tip. And this is what we're looking at, forecast through Sunday. Folks, that's near 24 inches of snow for parts of, or at least 12 inches to 24 inches through Albany, Binghamton, Burlington, parts of New Hampshire and Connecticut as well. Massachusetts, you're looking at more of the 6 to 12 range, maybe a little bit lighter. And as I show you this map, Southwest Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Middletown, Springfield, Ohio, Richmond, Indiana, south of Indianapolis, you guys got way less snow today because this is where that storm kind of shifted a little bit and warmer temperatures kind of hung around longer than expected. Now, the cold air was already in place up here in the Northeast for several days. And this Arctic blast, and that's what this is, guys. This is a true Arctic blast. You can feel it in your bones. Standing outside for the first 5 minutes was almost brutal. I thought, well, I'll calm down and it'll feel a little bit better here in a little bit. No, that's not the case at all. The heaviest snow totals will likely fall in the interior northeast. As much as 12 to 24 inches of snow is expected from Pennsylvania to Maine. Ice potential is also a growing concern for the northeast, with temperatures nearing 32 degrees in many areas. We'll see all types of precipitation, freezing rain, potentially in the northeast, that could lead to scattered power outages and extremely hazard travel through the weekend. Now we're talking the ice possibilities closer to the actual coast here, and not so much the interior parts of the states. But there you see the danger right there. The dark purple is definitely going to be a threat of power outages, no doubt about it. Be ready for that, folks. New York City, 36 degrees. It's going to get a mixed precipitation here, a mixed bag. Washington, D.C., you're all rain about this, but you're going to get about an inch of rain, so that's going to take care of all the snow that you guys had out there. Boston, 33, burst of heavy snow tonight, trending north, more of a mix of rain. Coastal flooding and strong winds are the concerns here in Boston. Binghamton, New York, 15 to 20 inches of snow. Travel to become nearly impossible, and that's the same warnings that we're getting here in upstate New York as well, near the Lake George area. Burlington, Vermont, overnight heavy snow, 8 to 14 inches of snowfall, dangerous wind chill and cold. They're not lying. In fact, I think they're underestimating the temperatures, because this is supposed to be the 7-degree temperature. It's supposed to be tonight, okay, at midnight. And it's 8:23, and I'm here to tell you, folks, it's 5 outside right now. Let's go down further. Sorry about this. Here we go. So this is where they think the heaviest snow is going to be. Through central New York, upstate New York, all the way through Maine. But in my opinion, the bigger story tonight, the biggest headline tonight, is indeed this wind chill and this cold air. And I've been inside for 14 minutes now, and I'm telling you, it's been a slow warm-up. This is cold, folks. If you don't have to be out in this, don't go out in this. If you don't have to drive anywhere, stay home. Forget about the roads. If you get caught in this, if you get stranded in this kind of cold, you're going to be flirting with frostbite and other issues that come along with cold weather and not being prepared. This forecast is showing us almost a white color from Syracuse through upstate New York. This takes us all the way through Sunday. Now these are snow totals, guys. I'm going to pause it right when we get here close to the end of this run. Oh, this is all the way through Monday morning. This is the future cast. So this is Saturday through Monday. Monday morning, the snow totals, the heaviest of it looks like it's going to be done in the vicinity of Sunday evening. But look at this. So that white indicates possibly more than 24 inches of snow. So I guess it just depends on what model and what channel you follow. But one thing is for sure, back on Monday, I threw my numbers out. 16 to 21 inches of snow in the upstate New York region. Lake George, Saratoga Springs, and farther north. So we'll kind of monitor that and see what happens. But we know for sure we're getting over a foot tonight. And that is exactly what the consensus is saying on this storm. Again, we'll take a look at all of the winter weather advisories and storm warnings. We do have something going on in the Northwest as well. I mean, it's not all about the East Coast right now, but we will show you that we are experiencing some extreme mountain snowfall from the Sierras, deep in the Sierras here. They've been getting pounded. This storm dropped tons of snow earlier in the week, and you see some lighter accumulations developing. But their snow really starts up here in the Northwest on Sunday. So this is additional snowfall from what Harper has already dropped in this area in the first place. So it looks like the majority of the United States is in for some snow cover. In fact, I'll tell you what, This is what we're going to look like as of January 29th, 2019. Over 20 inches of snow in upstate New York. Most of Northeast is above 20 inches or more. State of Ohio, most of you will be looking at a foot or just under that. Some parts southeast looking at about 3 to 4 inches of snow. Parts of the Midwest, parts of the northern plains, near a foot of snow. 2 inches of snow on the ground in northern Mississippi. Also, Arkansas, 2 inches of snow in most of your state. 2 inches or more in parts of Missouri. The surprise here is Kansas and Nebraska, they're getting off the hook. They had the first couple big winter storms. So fortunately for them, they are not going to see the majority of it. But look at the strength of the snowfall here in the Northeast. And a lot of that is because the size of this storm right now. And it has a lot to do with the amount of moisture that's coming in with this storm. All of this here in the south is going to move through the Northeast. That's heavy precipitation down there, guys. The cold air is in place. Let's go ahead and do a temperature check. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Right now, current temps. Do you know if these are surface temps, Maury, or are these up in the atmosphere, or are these all...
You had it up. I didn't look at it.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the refresh button here because...
I didn't look at it.
That's fine. That's fine. So here we are, refreshed it.
It is surface.
10 degree temperatures, 12 in Lake Pleasant, 8 in Indian Lake, 1 degree in North Alba. Rutland, Virginia, 7 degrees. Rutland, Virginia. Rutland, Vermont, 7 degrees. Middlebury, 3 degrees. These were temperatures that we were supposed to see at midnight. That cold air is here, folks. And if you live up here in the Northeast, stay inside, light a fire, snuggle up in your favorite big blanket, and just stay in. Netflix and chill all the way. Even colder weather to our neighbors above us in the north. Montreal, -8, -10, Acton Vale, -10 in Drummondville, Princeville, -11, St. George's, -10. Very cold air, and it's going to get colder than this. This is current temperatures throughout New York. Very cold. Get closer to the western, even Buffalo, 17 degrees. Batavia, 16. Dunkirk, 23 degrees. Erie, 25. So very cold along the Great Lakes. Very cold in the interior Northeast. And then you get a little closer to average here once you get closer to central Ohio, where Worcester's sitting at 28 degrees. Columbus at 34, above freezing. Look at this. Dayton, still above freezing at this point. I know there was a lot of mixed precipitation, snow, ice. There's your snow line for my hometown, folks. If you live in Troy and northward, you're looking at snow. Everything below I-70 is rain or a mix of that. Northeast Ohio still hanging on to some snowflakes. Fort Wayne still getting snowflakes as well, all the way back to Chicago. So they're not done yet. This started earlier in the day for them, and it's continued to carry on in lighter amounts at this point. But the big stuff has not yet hit all the way, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS. So here we were earlier today. Actually, this is starting on Sunday. Is that right? Yeah, Sunday. So overnight tonight, Southwest Ohio, you're going to see the freezing rain eventually change over to snow as it moves towards morning. Heavier snowfall for Ohio, South Indiana, Western PA, a soaker in Southern PA. And then as the day progresses on Sunday, still with that cold air in place on Sunday, very heavy snow throughout New York and all of the Northeast. As we continue through the evening hours on Sunday, still heavy snow falling for all the Northeast, winding down in the Midwest. Finally, by Monday morning, it indicates light snow showers and midday Monday, this storm is still hanging around in Maine and still showing light showers all the way to Tuesday, January 22nd, before our next storm system is moving across the Colorado Rockies, and then we have another disturbance in the upper Great Lakes. And this new low pressure system that is approaching on January 23rd has the potential to dump more snow in this region. Now, right now, GFS is showing more rainfall in the northeast, but temperatures that I've seen for that time of the week next week do not line up. I do believe it'll be a mix of rain and snow, but nothing like what we're seeing right now. But the pattern's going to remain this, guys. We're going to see a lot of cold, and we're going to see a lot of snow, especially if you live in Pennsylvania and all the way into the northeast. Ohio and Kentucky and the Atlantic states are also going to see their share of snowstorms as well. But for the most part, we are definitely going to have this cold air to continue to be persistent throughout the region. Here I wanted to show you guys this towards the end of the month. Bring us back currently, the 25th. We still have a lot of cold air to get through, guys. Here's where we were talking about this storm next week, where it's going to bring temperatures up in the northeast to mainly bring us rain. So if this changes at all, barely, as you see all that cold air in Canada moving in on the lower 48, just a little bit, that's a possibility this forecast could change for Wednesday. We are keeping our eyes on it, but there's plenty of snow for the northeast, wave after wave. And this cold air right here, guys, no one's talking about this in Canada, negative 41 degrees in several spots. Negative 39, negative 38. Friday, January 25th. I mean, look at the cold in Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, negative double digits. That's just surface temperatures. That's not counting the wind chill. Dangerous wind chills, folks. Into the northeast once again by the 26th of January. And this cold blast hangs around for a little bit. Ohio, you're going to get into the action of the cold air as well. But I'd say Columbus and northward is where you're going to expect that. A little bit of a retreat on the 27th, but then it builds back in again and pushes that warmer, milder air further south. And by the end of January, we're looking at another deep freeze going into February as well. I mean, look at this. Negative 15 degrees in southern New York. Negative 26 in upstate New York. The cold northern plains, negative 26 in the Dakotas. This cold air hangs around again for a couple more days. So this would be wave number 3, in my opinion, of cold Arctic blasts here from now until February 4th. This would be the 3rd shot of very cold air. And by the 4th, it appears that the GFS is showing a little bit of weakening in that colder air as it retreats a little bit. Now, what I've noticed is that we've been getting a lot of cold air, and then we get a shot of above freezing temperatures for a little while that builds up into the east. It ridges up like right here. But that cold air, it's almost like this little ridge heading up the northeast is just long enough to allow the atmosphere to reload with moisture before that next shot of cold air comes in. And then when we move forward in the future, after January 22nd, we see those green area temperatures right here in Ohio. This is what I'm talking about. It warms up enough, kind of getting the atmosphere started again as far as reloading it with moisture. And then as that front passes through, more cold air is drug in behind it, and we get more snow, we get more cold, more dangerous winter conditions. You know, Joe Bastardi and others have predicted dangerous winter conditions for the next 4 to 6 weeks. This is what they're talking about. Not just with snow, but these really, really, really cold temperatures here. The last time I remember feeling sub-zero temps like this was back in 2014, where we reached in Dayton, Ohio, a low of a high of negative 17. That was a daytime high, negative 17. Nighttime low that night was a negative 28 degrees. The furnace was set at 70, and it never got past 62 in the house. So I guess I was lucky it stayed at 62 degrees. But to see this cold air continue to blast us into the first month or the first week of February is consistent so far to forecasters. The only good news that I have for you guys on temps is right here at the end of this run on February 4th. This is the overnight into the morning to the daytime. So night, daytime February 3rd, night, daytime February 2nd, night, daytime February 1st. So you see how cold it is just 3 days prior and how cold it is 3 days later. It's not as dominant in southern Canada. So there might be a hope that there might be a slight thaw coming up, but that also could be more opportunity for that cold air to just redevelop and quickly shoot back down into the northeast. But so far, the predictions of a cold northern plains, Great Lakes, and northeast and parts of the south have come true so far. And yes, we had a late start, but it happened. El Nino, North Atlantic is still drunk. El Nino was El No-No last night. Tonight it's barely above the threshold of 0.688 degrees Celsius above baseline. Taking a look at the ice growth, shot up a little bit here. We're getting close to that 2012 mean, which was higher beginning. But look at this, guys. I can't begin to continue to brag as we look at the comparison year to year. 2018 was clearly the worst start for ice growth in a long time. 17 wasn't much better, but as you guys can see, and 16 is unfair to show because it's during a max and we lost a lot of ice later in June. But if you guys continue to look at the improvements of our ice, 2015, 2014, beginning of a max. Let's go back to 2009. Of course, that's where we were at the last minimum. Now let's take that off. The difference that I want to make here, I want to point out, the line here above our current orange line. This is ice growth after the peak of our heating from 2016. This ice beginning point right here is in 2009 and the last minimum that we had. Now, that maximum was not one of the warmest on record. So where I'm heading at is that there was some melting. There was temperature peakage going on in 2016. So to see the Arctic ice in the north recover the way it has in a short period of time should be another way of debunking that we are warming as a planet. If we were warming as a planet, we wouldn't see new growth of Arctic ice, and we sure as heck wouldn't see an improvement of Arctic sea ice. Again, I'll put the number up against it, 2018. Look at last year's numbers. We're already well above what we were last year at this point for 2018, and the trend to me looks like it's going to continue to go even further, possibly smash a few records. Looking at our coverage up here in the Arctic, almost pretty full. Some areas lacking a little bit of ice, but we're talking about the very outer edges. This is just the beginning of a deep freeze that we are experiencing here in the United States. Europe had their big snow, their big cold. U.S., this is their first significant widespread event when it comes to winter storms. But this cold, guys, this is the number one headliner, in my opinion, is the cold. And I'll tell you right now, I want to look at one other thing before I was thinking about going back outside and venturing out into this cold. I don't know. What do you think, Marty?
Oh, go for it, Jake. I can talk to them while you get all bundled up and go out.
Well, this is I'm going to go ahead and basically wrap it up with outside, and then you can go ahead and close it out.
Sure.
But I'm going to zoom out where we are, and there's plenty to come. But look at the size of this storm. I'll go ahead and go back to the main screen.
We're just talking in the chat about the pressure system and the cold, how it affects people's bodies with like joints and headaches and all that. People are complaining. Achy. This cold just makes you achy.
I want to put this in motion while you guys are still talking about that and point out that the cold air that's in the place in the northeast, this is why we're going to see so much snow. A lot of folks that were supposed to see a lot of snow earlier today didn't get that because the temperatures were slightly above. I'm talking about here, parts of northern Kentucky. It was mostly rain today. Now you're starting to see that transition over to snow. But on the tail end, but look at how heavy it is on the back end. So you guys still could easily pick up 3 to 5, even 8 inches of snow in southwest Ohio and further southward as the evening goes. But look at all of this. This is just the leading edge of it, okay? Some heavier bands kind of drifting in front of this storm. But we're just now getting into the beginning of it. And this is my point I'm trying to make. The moisture tail of this thing. Look at this. The oranges, the yellows. When that does end up riding up the coast into the northeast, the cold air is already here, folks. There's no waiting for that. The cold air is here. So all this moisture is going to instantly be snow. And those yellows and reds, once they get up to here, things are going to get really messy right in here overnight, from Syracuse all the way to Burlington and southwards. Okay? That's where I'm expecting some tricky spots tonight. If you live in Binghamton, Albany, let's see if I can get some cities to pop up here in Vermont. But I would say, to be on the safe side, I would say from Albany, Binghamton, Syracuse, through Lake George area, through Vermont, and just south of Burlington, and all the way through Maine and the northern part of the Northeast, could see 24 inches of snow or more. We'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. But it's a very high likely possibility for those areas as well. And while we're doing this, Mari, I'm going to go ahead
bundled up and
tell everyone hello in the chat.
I got some stuff I want to cover. We did have someone mention we had a 7.0 earthquake in Chile, and I have been looking, and they have put up on the USGS a 6.8. It looks like right on the coast of Chile. Let me just zoom in and take a look at it right here. It looks like right on the coast. So I'll have to look into that more. As of right now, tsunami.gov does not have any warnings, advisories, watches, or threats listed. So we'll see on that. They, Jake, were asking if you would do some snow angels out there. But, you know, let's see. I am going to get this set up so I can...
5 degrees. I'm going to do a quick temperature check before I go out. This phone is still frozen.
Frozen phone. All right, so did you want me to call you?
Yes, but...
and make it happen?
Let everybody know the temperature's dropped 1 degree, so it's now...
So we've gone down a degree since the show started 44 minutes ago. All right, so let's give...
You go ahead and call me.
All right, hold on here. Folks, we, you know what it's like, live, doing this kind of crazy stuff, right, with us, wacky GSM crew here. All right, Jake, are you ready to go?
I am.
All right, let's,
I'll go ahead and turn the camera around.
Let me make sure we got our audio first. Yes, audio is good. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm basically going to take everybody back out to the same spot. Since I was out last time, these are my tracks. I'm pretty sure of it. No, those aren't mine. I wanted to see if I could find my tracks. See if
You're
it's
covered up a bit.
So I walked in an area where other people have walked as well. Okay, not the point.
Now you got to get down and do a snow angel.
No. 4 degrees outside. 4 degrees with the real feel, guys, of -10. Sorry, I don't have snow pants. Now, if you give me some snow pants tomorrow, maybe I'll do some snow angels when we'll have the really impressive snowfall amounts. But right now, guys, we're not looking at a very heavy but just steady, fine snowfall. Thank God the winds are calm right now as I do this. And I'm moving to an area where there's more light so we can kind of get a better idea of how much snow is falling and what the idea. Now look at the roads. I'm still impressed that we have that kind of exposure on the ground. I'm impressed, Mari. Driving home tonight was not that great, but I'll give you a perspective on how deep the snow is. And as you can see, it's not even covering the sole, barely. And
those are nice sneakers, Jake.
Thank you. So, right now, you got a fine snowfall. As I point this up to light, you really can't see it. It is
icy. I drove in it. It is super slick out there. They didn't treat the roads because it's too damn cold. The salt doesn't even work.
Not in these temperatures, no. 4 degrees Fahrenheit, -10 outside. The wind is still light out here. That's the good news. But the bad news is about 4 to 6 hours, we're going to see the winds kind of pick up in the mid-teens to the 20s. And they're talking about blizzard-like conditions for central and upstate New York tomorrow morning. So we've got a long way to go. The last time Mari and I did a live update from outside on a snowstorm, it was nowhere near this. We thought we were going to get over 10 inches of snow. It ended up being about 6 to 7 inches. But still, this is impressive so far as how cold it is outside. That I keep mentioning that every time I go outside, and I don't mean to, complain or sound like a crybaby, but my goodness, guys, it is definitely cold. And I don't think when you factor in a foot of snowfall tonight, when you factor in the wind chills, when you factor in the Arctic cold blast that we're supposed to get, I wouldn't be surprised tonight if we saw -15 to -20 degrees because of the snowpack, because of the cold air that's filtering in, and how strong this low pressure. Mara, were you guys talking in the chat about the low pressure? Is anybody giving us a report on what the pressures are reporting on this? That's one thing I totally forgot to look at.
No one said anything in the chat, I don't think. Let me just see. Let's scroll. No.
Well, anyway, this is an impressive storm as far as the cold weather, how fast we've seen the cold. Earlier today, we were in the teens. We never got above 15 degrees.
It looks like we got some people from upstate New York watching us right now. And
nice.
They are in agreement that, hell yes, it's cold out.
Yeah, beyond cold.
We ain't lying.
And I think tomorrow, we're going to do a morning edition of our broadcast, probably mid-morning, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Maybe a little earlier, just depends on what the conditions look like, because word on the street is that we're looking at blizzard-like conditions ramping up overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, mid-morning, possibly all the way to noon, 1 p.m. area. So those winds are going to be high. Travel is being predicted right now. They're saying it's going to be impossible. Governor McCumo, as well as Pennsylvania, has done the state of emergency. They have banned all tractor trailers from travel on the throughways here in New York, in parts of New York. Not everywhere, but is it all over, or is it just parts of New York, Mari? Did you hear about that?
Of what? The ban?
Yes.
Like the driving restrictions? It's the throughway, I believe, he restricted. Several other cities are having restrictions as well, whether it be stay off the street. I know in our region, the city has put out a weather emergency warning asking people to stay off the streets, warning them that, we have to get the plows as much access to the roads to clean up as possible. Basically telling everyone to stay inside until bare minimum Monday around 10 a.m. They've delayed buses, and there's a lot of parking restrictions in some counties I've seen. Places that have alternate parking, there's requirements where they have to switch other sides of the road and whatnot. I know Buffalo used to be a nightmare with that. So right now, it's a smart thing. I haven't seen New York State react to a I can't talk. I haven't seen New York State react to a snowstorm in advance as diligently as they have with this particular storm. So I'm glad they've learned from the past years of people being stranded on the New York State Thruway, and just people dying in their cars, freezing to death. It's been a tragic few years of winter. If just being from Buffalo, remembering the past, I'm glad New York State's finally getting on the ball with preparations for this.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like I said, right now, winds are kind of light, 8 to 10 miles an hour. Nothing really crazy yet, but I just wanted to begin the documentation of this because things could get interesting around here tomorrow. And we're in the thick of this. The only reason why we're taking advantage of the situation to film outside is because we are actually going to be right in the heart of the heaviest part of the snowfall as far as this storm totals that we are expected to see. So it'll be interesting to wake up in the morning, Mari, to see the totals on the ground. And then how long will I be outside on tomorrow morning's update edition for this storm? I don't know. Because I'll tell you something right now.
It'll be fun.
If the winds were 24 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour right now, there's no way I could be out here longer than not even 5 minutes, 3.5 minutes tops. It's cold. But that's all I got for tonight, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up. Mari, thank you for helping out producing the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, checking out. Listen, wherever you guys are watching from, if you're up here in the Northeast, please heed the warnings on the cold air. Stay inside tonight and tomorrow morning. And really, if you don't have to be on the roads, don't. Just let the road crews go outside to do their jobs because they're battling not just the drifting and blowing snow, because this stuff is really fine. And I'll kick it around a little bit. You can kind of get an idea. This stuff is going to be easily blown around. So road crews are going to have problems. Once those winds do get kicked up, they're going to have to worry about drifting snow, freezing temperatures to where salt's not even going to work. And it's just going to be hazardous all the way around. So, folks, really the biggest story right now is the cold. Ride this storm out. The sledding will be there. Most places have the day off on Monday due to a government holiday, Martin Luther King Day. So there will be plenty of time to snow. The cold weather is going nowhere here in the Northeast, and that is a fact. So with that being said, guys, thank you once again for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Mari, thanks again.
All right, Jake, thank you. And everyone in the chat, it's always a pleasure. And I will talk to Jake about, how we were discussing him being part Yeti. Again, please like and share, guys. Have a great night.
See ya.